Welcome to the Think and Grow podcast with your host, Dr. Z and
Professor B.
Today we are going to be focusing on a rising star, Keith Washington. Keith's got a great story. He's does a ton of different stuff, and I'm so excited to get going with you, Keith. I just want to start before we get into any of it. I don't know if you remember this, but the very first time I ever remember meeting you was on a listing. I went to look at a house. You were with that guy, I don't remember his name, from Coldwell Banker, but that was the very first time that, and I don't know why it stuck in my head that I remembered you, but I remember that because it was so early on in my career with real estate, right? Mm-hmm. So that was my very first, and you and I have got to know each other a little bit over the years. So I'm super excited to get into this with you. Tell us all about how you became a rising star, how you got started, all of that.
Well, number one, thank you for having me. I'm honored to be able to speak to you guys, and obviously to learn more about you guys. You two are two of my favorite people in the world, so I'm absolutely humbled and honored that you have me on this on your podcast. Hopefully, I can show my face a lot more in the future. But a little bit about me. My name is Keith Washington, based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I am a real estate broker, real estate investor, serial entrepreneur across many different sectors, including franchise owner, Airbnb host, Turo, and the list goes on. My background has always been with real estate. Real estate and business has been my bread and butter. I've been a real estate investor full-time for about 14 plus years. And I am a husband, father, God-fearing man who wants to leave the world in a better place than I found it. That's pretty much a little bit about me.
I can attest to that, Keith, because, we've been talking about your latest venture, and one of the things that stood out to me was how you valued their values in terms of running the business and the culture and all of that. So, yeah, you are totally in alignment. You have a ton of integrity. I really admire, and like I said, I've been watching you from afar for quite a few years now, and I'm like, go, man, go. And you definitely are.
Definitely appreciate it.
So, Keith, what kind of got you started in real estate? What was your whole thinking process? Did you right away want to have your own business coming up, or did you always have an idea to have a job?
Yeah.
Branch out? What was your
basically process? How'd you get started in real estate?
Yeah.
I would say a good part of my life, since I was a kid, I've been an entrepreneur, from obviously cutting grass, shoveling snow, raking leaves, different businesses like that, pop-up snacks, selling things at school. So I got bit with the entrepreneurial bug pretty early in life. So it wasn't until I was like maybe 16 or 17 where I had an idea what I wanted to do with my life. By the age of 17, my high school teacher had one point handed me a book by Robert Kiyosaki called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Everybody's that's it's funny because you have that knowledge, that the scattered knowledge, but then to see everything in writing in front of you and able to base it off and apply, that was all the gas I needed to gas me up. So by 17 and a half, I had my first credit card. It was a college credit card. Started building my credit. And by the age of 19 to 20, I bought my first house, the house hack, live-in investment, stayed upstairs, rented out the downstairs, then got into wholesaling via bird dogging. Basically, bird dogging is selling information to the motivated sellers to other investors and letting them run with it. Made a few $100 off that just by passing information, realized wow, this works. Instead of giving it to somebody else, let me expand my knowledge on the whole process, and got into assignments, double closings. By this time it's 2011, then got licensed as a realtor. And once I got licensed as a realtor, I was able to work the deals a lot better because now I have real estate contract knowledge. and I'm able to craft a perfect offer that allowed me to protect myself, also protect the sellers, but also pass that bill on to the end buyer with confidence instead of there's no contracts written on the back of a napkin, and that's like, this is more comprehensive state approved contract. So the end buyer actually, I'm able to add a level of credibility to the end buyer who's buying these properties from me or taking on assignments. And from there on, then the bonus was I was like, oh, I'm actually getting paid to sell other people's houses. So now I'm an investor and a realtor making a commission there, but also still do my flips and rehabs. By this time, I'm ripping and running. So about 5 years ago to the day, I went off and started my own brokerage, Boardwalk Realty. And now I have 7 agents up under Boardwalk and growing. And our focus still remains with focusing on motivated sellers, buyers, first-time buyers, and investors. So that's pretty much how I got started and where I am in real estate.
So when was it that you realized as a salesperson, right? You're like, I got this selling houses stuff.
Yeah, it was so the best part about it was a blessing and a curse, because when I got licensed in 2011, it was at the bottom of the market. Everybody, it was foreclosures galore. Everybody for the pennies on the dollars, and that's where I took off. So I started off at a big box broker, then stayed there for about 3 months, but realized I wasn't getting what I needed. Then jumped ship to another broker. It was an independent broker, but at that moment in time, he was the #1 REO broker, so real estate owned foreclosure broker in Milwaukee. First week there, I'm knocking deals out the park, selling things to buyers and everybody else.
Wow.
Bottom of the recession, so I cut my teeth on foreclosures and distressed properties, from path to HUD homes to city properties to, I was on averaging selling anywhere from 6 to 10 a month.
Whoa.
So when I was there, so that was it was a good learning experience. Obviously, taking on a lot more knowledge there, more trial by fire, I would say. So what motivated me was mostly just like obviously the money and the financial wealth, the long-term wealth, what motivated me. More millionaires are made in real estate than any other sector. So I took that knowledge and ran with it. God ain't making no more dirt. And here it is. So I wanted to buy some bricks.
What did you ever have any significant struggles where you doubted yourself or doubted your belief that you could really make it successful?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that struggle question, and man, ripping and roaring right out of the gate. But you must have had some kind of struggles early on.
Yeah, most definitely. So I been in real estate for 14 years. So it wasn't until 2013, 2012. So I jumped back and forth from full-time to part-time, full-time to part-time in real estate. And so I had jumped back into the rat race, if you will, a couple of times, mostly just for this job security and the doubt in myself. But it was a moment in time where I was just fed up with what I was doing at my 9 to 5 at the time. So I was in the airlines for about 5 years. I worked at Midwest Airlines, Southwest, and AirTran, or Midwest, AirTran, Southwest. And I left AirTran or Southwest in 2013. And then I made the leap of faith with $5,000 in savings. And basically, I had to figure it out because the struggle was real. Obviously, there was many doubts in the sense of like, can I do this full time? Because as a realtor, we're strictly commission based. Like if we're not out killing, we're not out eating. So if we're not closing deals, so that's where my investor knowledge was able to supplement my realtor income. I was able to wholesale a property, flip a property, flip, and buy a rental to start building up that residual income to have consistent income in between commissions. So that was the biggest struggle right there was finding deals. Like I had to hustle hard and there was sleepless nights, late nights up trying to market or prospect or get my name out there, go to different networking events, so on and so forth. And obviously, if we reconnected from the local real estate chapter, real estate investor chapter in 2013, called the Milwaukee RIA. And that was one of the biggest struggles, was to find where I needed to be. Where did I need to be to really engage and network with the right people? And that's one of the many real estate platforms that I'm a part of too in the Milwaukee area. So that's one of the biggest struggles with that was for me, was getting started, jumping in both feet and weathering the storm of being a full-time entrepreneur, which is scary. You know, people are so comfortable with their guaranteed money, but that job and the guaranteed money was holding me back from what I really wanted to do, which was real estate and business. So that was my why. But now that I have a son, he's my new why, per se.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But time goes on with that.
So can you think of a clear-cut breakthrough?
I would say the clear-cut breakthrough was, I would say, making that leap of faith into real estate. So the adversities that I've had to overcome, obviously, is like I had no one to really teach me the game when I got in. I had to learn the game on my own through trial and error. The best part was, at the time, there was a lot of free information out there, a lot of paid information. I spent thousands upon thousands on education from different real estate gurus, quote unquote, the Carlton sheets of the day. I think I still have those manuals and the books and the programs, but it gave me a start. And basically, so the biggest adversities was understanding, like, I'm in this to win it. If this is what I want to do, I have to apply myself. There's no turning back. There was a point in time where I got light-footed and jumped into another job as like a second option, but realized I made the wrong move. And that's when I went back and like, nope. And when I quit that job, I didn't need the job at the time. I had applied for like 4 times and they actually called me back. So it was more of a tester, like, okay, let me see what this is like. Met a lot of good, awesome people who are friends and clients to this day. However, working for that company was cool and fulfilling, but it was not my passion. It was not where I wanted to be. So that's one of my biggest adversities, I would say, is overcoming the fear of failing. Like, we all still, even down to this day, we all have a fear of failing, but try to set that fear of failure to the side and understand what my true vision is and how every move, every decision I make applies. Like, how are they helping me to accomplish my vision?
Yeah, and I was going to say, with not a lot of mentors and role models, particularly growing up in Milwaukee, you know, where there are a lot of disparities, particularly for minorities. What is it, or is there a particular person that kind of helped you or allowed you to kind of look beyond to see what possibilities were available to you, because the environment may not have been so encouraging?
I can guess what one person he might throw in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was, I have the pleasure of speaking to a good person at this very moment. There was a lot of mentors and people who influenced me over the years. The best part is that a lot of these people are friends in the real estate community and business community, and they were mentors to me and they didn't even know it. Mm. Yes, there's so much to learn just by asking questions, and also just being able to not just take, but also give and pour into them. So I had to make the decision, like, years ago, like, it's so cliche, but you surround yourself with those you want to be like or aspire to be. So if I'm the smartest one in the room, I'm in the wrong room right now. So once I start surrounding myself and taking on direct mentorship, and Patrick was, you were the first direct coach and mentor that I ever had. So he was a springboard to putting me into being able to go out and ask these questions or have this accountability partner. You only can get so far in your goals and your achievement by yourself. At some point, you're going to have to relearn or learn from someone. And it's not even a bad thing. You're learning from others who have already been down that road, that you can see they hit that road bump. So as you're traveling down the same road, they can tell you, hey, jump over that pothole, so you don't have to make the same mistakes they have. So that's very important. But also, if it's taking advice from the right people. It's hard to say, like, I listen to everybody. And of course, it's on you to filter the information that comes through. Like, okay, does this really apply to me? How can I apply it to myself, into my business and my life? And then you go from there. Obviously, if I'm talking about asking a question about a particular subject, and this person has never experienced or actually participated in the subject and given me advice, that's not the right person to be taking advice from. So if I want to talk about millions of dollars, I need to talk to millionaires about millions of dollars and asking questions like, what's working for you? What's not working for you? How did you get to where you are? What would you suggest? How did you get started? It's just questions, things. I've taken a lot of people out to drinks and coffee just to have that moment of time. But now I have direct mentors and business and life coaches. And my life coach and business coach even has a coach himself. So he's even proven proof that you can't do it alone. So it
definitely takes a village, right? That's what Dr. Z likes to say. It takes a village. You're not going to get there on your own. It's going to be up to you, but you really need all these people in your life in order for you to get to where it is you want to go.
Absolutely. Yeah, you only can do so much on your own. And that's where the mentorship program and my mentor now is, I have monthly meetings, monthly calls, quarterly in-person masterminds, so that I'm now in a room of 15 to 20 high-performing entrepreneurs. So it's not just one. Now I'm surrounding myself with many teams of other entrepreneurs who also, some below me, some above me, but all have the same drive and ambition and the want to get their life and business into new heights.
What are some of the challenges that you are facing now, that being in these masterminds and sharing ideas and strategies, has there been some really key things that you've gleaned from that's kind of helping you as you're facing some struggles, potentially some struggles even now?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's been a lot of different challenges, even just being in part of a mastermind and even just having a coach. The biggest thing is like also being in the room and understanding that you are worthy to be in that room, to be in that that crowd, because it's so easy to be in there, have that mindset to go into this room and you want to absorb, but you're also there as a responsibility to pour into others. You know, a empty cup can't pour into another empty cup. So I'm able to have my cup filled, but also pour into others in that room. So that's one of the challenges with me, is just understanding, like, okay, rethinking and asking the right questions, because we're there for a reason, to help and build each other up. And obviously just more just open your mind and mindset to the whole mentorship. That was a challenge too. Like, okay, cool. You know, I'm actually paying to be a part of this program. And it's not even about the money, it's more about the accountability. Like, okay, hey, I'm actually investing in myself. It's not just a fee that I'm paying, but that's an investment into myself, into my businesses, and to my family. And that was also a mindset shift and challenge that I had to overcome with that.
So do you feel that because now you've got your hands on multiple opportunities, right? You're a multiple business owner now, I believe, right? So do you feel like as you've grown your businesses, the challenges, I would imagine, get larger? And how do you what have you done to take on those challenges and meet the challenges and solve the problems?
Yeah, and that's, I would say, one trait of any entrepreneur is is to get squirrely, to understand like, okay, hey, there's multiple different business ventures, but understanding like, hey, what's your mental bandwidth? Like, how much can you physically take on in the day to day? And that was a challenge for me because it's the fear of failure would drive my urge and want to start another business. I will start another business in 15 minutes just because I could run the numbers work. But at the end of the day, what's my time worth? How much time am I actually invested in this? For instance, I had the opportunity to invest in a different restaurant, and it was a client who was buying it. It was a legacy restaurant in Milwaukee. And it was one of those things that I actually asked my coach, like, hey, what do you think about this? This is where I'm going. I'm thinking about buying this. I'm getting 25% ownership in this with no cash investment. So just like, yeah, it's not monetary investment, but that 25% comes with my time. And that's when I'm like, how much time am I spending there? Because time is money at the same time. And while I still have another business that at the time that demanded a lot of my attention at that given moment in time as I was building. So, and also being a 25% owner, I don't have majority say or even a good voting in that. So there's different oppositions that would have came with that. So the challenge of being like, number one, just sifting through the nonsense, what works. And there was a book that my coach had me read called The Pumpkin Plan. And the pumpkin plan, basically the premise is these champion 2, 3, 4 ton pumpkin growers. It's all these pumpkins start as a normal pumpkin in this extremely large pumpkin patch. And the farmers have to identify the pumpkins with the most potential and to cut off all the small ones, get rid of all the small ones so all the resources can flow into the big ones. Same thing for businesses, getting rid of all your problem clients. Like if somebody calls and you cringe if you see a name and you really don't want to talk to that person, that's a person, why are you entertaining that person in your life? Or even in your business. But that one person they'll call and be like, oh, you answer on the second ring and you enjoy talking to the person. Those are the clients that you want to surround yourself. Pour into those clients because those clients are going to refer better clients to you as well, as opposed to the one who are the time suckers, the leeches, and just overall headache for you. So
what would you say to a young Keith Washington? Let's go back to the teenage you, and he had a mentor like you, a role model. What's some advice you would give to a young person starting out who maybe wants to get into real estate or just business in general? Maybe a young African-American male growing from Milwaukee.
Yeah, no, 100%. And actually, you'll be amazed at how many people approach me on the regular. I get a lot of inboxes and a lot of messages like, teach me the game. I'm like, I'm a giver, and I will regurgitate information for hours straight, but then it's on them to actually apply it. My advice would be, number one, focus. That's something that I struggle with, and I know my weaknesses, and like it's hard for me to focus. And when I say focus, as in don't be squirrely, like, okay, here, focus on your core businesses. What do you have on your plate now? Look at it like, can you have the mental bandwidth to take on anything? So and the next part of focus will be to educate yourself. Educate there in this time and day and age. There's a lot of free information out there. YouTube University, you can start there. There's a wealth of knowledge just on YouTube in itself, and there's a lot of free knowledge. But then if you will learn a nugget here, but then it's on you to expand in that knowledge. I think I could become a doctor if I wanted to off of YouTube. But the amount of content that's available at your fingertips is just educate. So focus, educate, and apply. You can get into a habit of what you call it, analysis paralysis, where you will analyze and get stuck, like have all this information so much that you become stuck and you can't move. You have to jump eventually. You have to take that leap. There's no better time than the present to get started. We're only getting older, and there's no expiration date on hustle. Colonel Sanders, I don't know how old he was when he first started.
60s,
in the
somewhere,
60s.
yeah.
Oh, it's like, and he had a whole bunch of no's, but he still applied and still had to drive. So it's focus, educate, and apply will be my three piece of advice I would say.
Yeah. How about get the hell out of your comfort zone, people, right? I see this all the time, that people that can't transcend that, getting out of that safe kiddie pool.
Yeah. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Exactly.
And that's what I have to tell myself too. Like, in going to networking events when I am the only person there that I know, is the anxiety driving struggle. But at the same time, for me going to different networking events over the years and realizing, you've been networking wrong. Like, the first thing a lot of people do is go into these networking events, and the first thing they do is seek people that they know. I will end up talking and just jabbering with those people, but now I make it a goal to meet one new person, at least a bare minimum one new person, and ask them about their business, ask them about things that they're doing right, what's working for them, what's not working for them, and how do I know if I'm talking to the right client for you. So, Patrick, if you sell window blinds, let's just say window shades, and I'm talking to a person, I'm like, hey, what's the ideal client for you? And you give me a list, like, hey, somebody who's first-time buyer, investor, landlord, perfect. You know what? I got somebody for you. And if I send you 2-3 leads and say, hey, Keith sent me, that's going to be a nugget in your head, like, Keith put money in my pocket. What's going to be that automatically to you? You should be like, you know what? Somebody just called me and said they're looking to sell a house. I'm putting new blinds in a house that they're getting ready to sell. I know a guy, Keith can help you. And that's one of those things too, is as you navigate that too. So that I would say.
Yeah. So connecting and the law of reciprocity, right, is huge. Yeah, oh, hi, Keith. I'm Patrick. Here's my card. Here's what I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Don't do that.
Hi to other people I know, but that's one of the things too. The best business is referral business. And that legit just nothing in life is hard. People make things hard, but if you can make things easier, it costs me nothing to refer somebody to you, and it costs you nothing to refer it to me. And that's the best business. People pay thousands for leads in business, but just having that relationship with different people is priceless.
Well, what's coming up next for you? So you've got your brokerage, which you're continuing to expand that. And then you're also on having this Big B coffee franchise.
Yep. Big B coffee. Never better, always better. So that's another, so I've owned Big B for almost 2-3 years. I'm a co-owner in this location. So my business partner, we're 50-50 owners in this business. And I could talk a whole hour just about franchise, but obviously there's a lot of pros and cons to having a franchise. But the overwhelming pro is, like, you have a brand behind you. You have a brand and support there. You don't have to go through the birthing pains of going through and building a brand. You look at brands like McDonald's. Like, you can drive down and all you need to see is the golden arches, and you know exactly what the brand is. The brand is worth more than the business itself. And that's when you have the support of that. And because if you go to Big B in Franklin, Wisconsin, 7700 South Lovers Lane, or you go to the Big B there's 2 in Sheboygan, there's 1 in Plymouth, there's 1 in Appleton that's coming soon, there's 1 in Marshfield, there's 1 in Wausau, there's 1 in Red Mountain, there's going to be 1 in West Dallas. So you're going to get the same quality, the same people, the same energy that you'll get at any other location. So that's one of the biggest things about that. about having a franchise. And to get to franchise, this one, Big B, is real estate laid the paving stone for me to invest in Big B. Big B it's a godsend in the sense of I can see the long-term benefit of it. Besides selling coffee to people and making their day brighter, we opened up at the tail end of the pandemic. So it was hard in the sense of figuring out and having the struggle and anxiety, like, is this going to work? But also having the faith and trust in the systems that Big B provided us and the training they gave us said, hey, as long as you follow this, you'll be successful.
Sounds like it's definitely a long-term wealth building vehicle that people, if you're out there considering it, now's the time, because eventually this market is going to saturate and that opportunity, the window's open, right?
Yeah, and the coffee is, coffee brings people together. Even as a realtor, I've met a lot of clients and done business in coffee shops. So now I invested in one. I invested in the water hole that people were partaking in. So now I can actually, it's like when you come to my coffee shop, it's like me bringing you into my home. Get comfortable, come to the back. Let me make you a cup of coffee. And the one good thing that I love about Big B is one of their mission statement is that we exist to support you in building the life that you love. And it's not even that, it's more than, like, even on the cups itself, it says we love the people, we love our coffee, we love the people behind our coffee even more. So it's more than just, and they mean that, as far as I can talk years and days about the support that Big B gives, especially being a young Black owner in a franchise. Just the word franchise is daunting. My partner and I, we looked at many different franchise concepts, maybe hundreds, and a lot of them like want $1.5 million of liquid net worth. They want 2+ years of training inside you have to be inside their system before you can even be considered. Big B has a support. It's a low franchise fee. They offer training, and they just want to see, hey, are you financeable? And there are no corporate owned locations. Everything is 100% franchise owned. Each location is independently owned by a member of your community. So when you buy a cup, it's not just, and I have about 24 employees just in our location in Franklin, and we're working on a second location in Cudahy. So yeah, now is the time, especially in now, because it's more than just a coffee shop. It's a business that has systems that you can pass on to others. Would
you say that core value, the core values was the, like, core value sold, let's go with this?
Yes, absolutely. There was the core values. It's like there's nothing to hide with Big B. I went through a long, painstaking process with another franchise and was this close to signing on. Everything happens for a reason. And this particular franchise was so secretive about their franchise disclosure document, which is a document that outlines every last detail of the franchise. They wanted to see this, maybe 10 different times. And when I provided all these items, then they showed it to me and it wasn't what it cracked up to be. On the first meeting with our area rep for Big B, the first thing, he had it printed out in a binder, like, here you go. Here it is. We have nothing to hide. He was like, oh, I can email it to you too. Like, here, so you can have it for, and that in itself, after experiencing what the other franchise went through, that was number one. Like, they actually have nothing to hide. Here's the numbers. They're very transparent. This is who the co-CEOs are. And also the co-CEOs, they're entrepreneurs in themselves. And Mike McFall and Bob Fish, those people that I look up to now inside the Big B ecosphere. And then we call them Big B fanatics too. All the people who like Big B is Big B fanatics. Yeah.
So as we wind down on this Think and Grow episode, are there any parting thoughts, words of wisdom that come to mind for you that you want to leave our listeners? Because the big reason we came up with Think and Grow is because our passion is to create this podcast that will help people that are like you 10 years ago when you were first starting out, 15 years ago. Is there anything that you want to say as we wind down here?
Absolutely. So if I can, a few nuggets, like once again, focus. You have to focus on one thing, makes one thing good, excel at that. Then when you have the opportunity, then you can expand. Definitely educate yourself. Once again, get knowledge, seek knowledge, seek an expert in that particular field. Most millionaires don't know about this particular subject, but they know how to hire smart people who knows that subject. So I don't know law. I don't know how to file whatever the case is, but I have 3 lawyers who I can easily call who are experts in their field and apply. You have to make that jump eventually. Of course, you can't sit still. For progress is where it needs to be. And piece of knowledge is also do right. Do unto others that you want done to you. This is that goes back to nothing in this world is hard. People make things hard, but if you can be that person that other people want to be around, other want to work with, that will catapult your business in many different ways. You don't have to be fake. Just be a good person. Don't. You have to be selfish in the sense of even selfish with your business too. You can't open a business and your business always comes first as far as investing in a business. You bring in $100, $80 goes right back into that business. Make sure your business is healthy. Your business is a pumpkin too, Your business needs resources. Reinvest in your business because you only can build so much. If you take in all that money, your business won't be healthy. Other pieces will be trusting yourself, believing yourself. You are worthy to accomplish your goals, and write down your goals, write down your vision, write it down. And once you write it down and actually see that plan, that vision, and changing your mindset and understanding like, how can I get it done? How can I get it done? Think and grow. Think of how can I get it done? Not that it can't be done. How can I get it done? If you ask yourself, how can I get this done? It's going to force you to actually think like, okay, what's the step? That's the finish line. And I'm at the start. How do I get to that finish line? You may be slow, you might be fast, but making that first step to the finish line is all you need. Just make that one step. It doesn't have to be perfect to get started. You don't have to see it was a Martin Luther King quote. You don't have to see I could be butchering this. You don't have to see the entire staircase to take the first step.
Oh,
I'm paraphrasing. I don't know, but you get the analogy.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Keith. Thank you for being on the show and dropping so many good nuggets and words of wisdom, and I think you give our listeners a lot of good ideas to move forward with their dreams and goals and actions.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm thinking this is a podcast, but really it's a mini mastermind between the 3 of us, right? We bring you in. You're the guru today, imparting all your wisdom.
Absolutely.
People are going to learn a lot from all of the things. I hope that whoever's watching this, they're watching with pen and paper.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
you laid down a ton of value in this podcast.
Yes, you did. Definitely appreciate that.
All right. Well, we're going to leave it there.
Yeah.
And we're definitely going to have you back on for the Mega Mentors. If you're going to talk for an hour on franchising, we can,
Right.
get you on that segment and go all into this, your journey on that one. So we look forward to having you back in the future.
For sure.
And thanks again for coming on.
Yeah.
Robert, once again, I appreciate you guys for having me.
You're very welcome. Okay. And thank you in advance. Okay.
Just thinking and growing and learning and knowing and thinking and growing and learning and knowing, yeah. Just thinking and growing and learning and knowing and thinking and growing and learning and knowing, yeah. Yeah, we're thinking and growing and learning and knowing and thinking and growing and learning and knowing, yeah. We're thinking and growing and learning and knowing and thinking and growing and learning and knowing, yeah.